How walkable is the city of Medellin? It ranked number 32 globally in Time Out's most walkable cities on the planet. And honestly, I was surprised by this. I was surprised it ranked just so highly compared to other cities on the planet, simply because Medellin is so hilly. Where I am now, I'm just going for a run in Poblado, in the La Frontera part, near Avenida Las Vegas. This part is fairly flat. And what I've realized is that north to south, Medellin is very walkable. It's very runnable. It's nice and flat. You don't have the world's biggest pavements to walk on, as you can see now. Just have these small pavements to walk on. But by and large, if you're traveling north to south in the city of Medellin and the surrounding metropolitan areas, it is very walkable and it's very runnable. Compared to cities like Bogotá and Cartagena, probably not as walkable. Bogotá is super flat, as you guys know, and so it's very easy to walk all the way around Bogotá. The only downside of that is more crime in Bogotá, so you do have to be more careful. Phone theft, motorbikes, things like that. But by and large, Bogotá is more walkable than Medellin. And for Cartagena, I've only been to the touristy part. I've only been to the walled city, the Centro Histórico of Cartagena. I haven't been to the larger part of the city, but I'm assuming it's flat because it's right next to the sea. Cartagena is very walkable. I would say much more so than Medellin, but it's a lot smaller as a city. Like the walled city of Cartagena is kind of like maybe 2 or 3 barrios of Poblado. That's it. It's not very big. Understandably, it's a lot more walkable than Medellin. But that being said, I've lived in Medellin for almost 10 months now, and I still don't have a car. I don't own a moto. I don't take Ubers that regularly. I'll probably take an Uber once or twice a week to go to a different part of the city. But by and large, I can live a good quality, kind of normal-ish life here in Medellin without a car. I'm single. I don't have kids. I'm not doing school drop-offs. I don't live in the outskirts of Medellin where I have to drive everywhere to go to a supermarket. I don't live on a colina. I'm not in Las Balsas or anywhere like this. And so for me, where I live in La Frontera, in between Envigado and Poblado, it is very walkable. And I would say, unless you really want one, you can live very comfortably without a car or a moto, although it's probably something that I'm going to invest in the future, potentially when I have kids, when I need to do school drop-offs, when I want to explore more on the weekends, going to little pueblitos, things like this. But by and large, if you live in some certain areas of Medellin, it's very walkable. Now, what are those certain areas? Well, parts of Poblado are quite flat. Definitely somewhere like Laureles or Estadio. These places are super flat. Some parts of Envigado as well. So it is a little bit dependent on which part of Medellin you are living in and which part you are visiting. But even when I lived in Alto de Misael in Envigado, which is right on the top of a hill overlooking La Magnolia, I still didn't have a car then. I still got around, and yes, it was a bit of a leg workout every time I wanted to go to and from my apartment when I was walking uphill. But overall, even living on a colina, the walkability was quite high in Medellin. But the flip side of that is, if you want to go for a run, if you just want to do a cheeky 5k, if you want to get some cardio in, you are very limited in Medellin unless you live in other neighborhoods, because you can only really run north to south or vice versa, because there isn't actually that much scope for running east to west or the other way around as well, because the infrastructure is not really kind of developed and built that way. You'd be forever crossing traffic, crossing autopistas. It would be stop-start a lot. You would not be able to kind of walk or run fluidly from east to west, or as you're looking at the map, left to right, for example. You're kind of stuck to moving north and south when you're in Medellin. So right now I'm on Avenida Las Vegas, and it's pretty good running kind of scenery. Look, I've got a nice path here. There's a little bit of traffic, but by and large, Avenida Las Vegas is very walkable and also therefore very runnable, but it does mean you're limited. And although the weather's a lot better in Medellin, so you can run year round, it never gets cold, it sometimes rains, but if you're prepared for that, you'll be okay. Cities in Europe, for example, London, Paris, Madrid, Barcelona, etc., you have a lot more variety when it comes to walking and running, because basically you can move in any direction. It's not that mountainous. There aren't any colinas there. You don't have these insane gradients where it's literally unwalkable. And so you do have a lot more choice. And so that is one of the downsides of living in Medellin, is that you are fairly limited for your runs and walks about having to go north-south in the city. Now, there are some neighborhoods, for example, Ciudad del Rio in Poblado, which is super flat, it's super walkable. And unless you're doing a really big kind of 15k run or a 20k run or something, you can do a nice little 5k in Ciudad del Rio because it's super flat. It's like a little city in itself, and that would be quite comfortable. There are nighttime run clubs, usually on Thursday or Friday night, and they basically basically use Ciudad del Rio as a little kind of like running route for 5Ks and stuff like that. It is a bit zone dependent, but on the whole, options for running and walking are fairly limited in the city of Medellin. Now compare Medellin to other cities in Colombia apart from Cartagena and Bogotá. Well, Manizales, super hilly and probably not that runnable. I haven't visited Manizales yet, so I can't say for certain, but going by from what people have told me, it's very hilly and not that walkable. Pereira, which is a smaller city in the coffee region, south of Medellin, is also very walkable, but it's a little bit like Cartagena. Because it's such a small city, it's kind of like a big pueblito. Even though it has its own airport, it's not really directly comparable to Medellin. Some parts of Cali are walkable, but some parts aren't. I've been to Cali, I've spent almost a week in Cali. Very hilly, lots of colinas, so I wouldn't say it's that walkable. I would say it's on a par with Medellin. Santa Marta, probably the same as Cartagena, very walkable. Same with Barranquilla. Haven't been to Barranquilla yet, but it's near the sea, so I'm assuming it's going to be flat and pretty walkable as well. So if walkability and runnability is really high up on your list, if it's something that's maybe kind of top 5 priority for you, then maybe Medellin is not the city for you, because you could potentially get bored running the same route every day or walking the same route, not being able to go up colinas too much. And so in that regard, maybe a city like Bogotá or Cartagena near the coast would be a better option for you. So to conclude, before it starts raining like it's no tomorrow, check out the clouds. Medellin is walkable. It's not the most walkable city I've ever lived in. And if you really want a super flat city where you can walk and run everywhere and there's no need for a car or a moto and you won't get out of breath walking up colinas, Medellin is not going to be the city for you, simply because unless you live in certain areas and don't mind doing the north to south route all the time or south to north, then you're going to get bored pretty quickly. So yeah guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Speak soon.